What's up, y'all? So I'm trying to look up this city in Illinois. I had ran across this page called Six Cities Dying in Illinois or something like that. Y'all know I'm always checking something out and looking at something. So Cahokia, Illinois. I guess I'm pronouncing that right. I've heard of it years ago or something, but I'm not for sure where it is. Let me see. Cahokia, Illinois. Cahokia primarily refers to Cahokia Mounds, the largest pre-Columbian Native American city north of Mexico, located in southwestern Illinois across the Mississippi River from St. Louis. Okay. It also refers to the historic modern community of Cahokia, Illinois, a historic French founded settlement now part of Cahokia Heights. Ancient Cahokia mounds, peak era, flourished around 1100 CE during the Mississippi cultural period, covering roughly 4,000 acres with an estimated population between 10 and 20,000 people. Monk's Mounts, the largest prehistoric earthen pyramid structure in North America, standing 100 feet tall and containing over 25 million cubic feet of earth. Woodhenge, a reconstructed large sun calendar circle of wooden posts used by ancient astronomers to track solstices and equinoxes. Historic Cahokia, Illinois. French roots, founded in 1699 by French Canadian missionaries as a mission, making it one of the earliest European settlements in Mississippi River Valley. Origin named after the Cahokia tribe, a suburb, a subgroup of Inuit Illinois native people. Modern status: the historic village merged into newly incorporated city of Cahokia Heights, Illinois, in 2021. Okay, so it merged into a village. Okay, I had came across this because y'all know I'm here in Decatur, Illinois. And so, races versus realists. You know, a lot of times I get on here, right? And I talk my talk and I tell my story or whatever. And I always make a statement that I'm not a racist, I'm a realist. Because I'm not racist, I'm a realist. Well, I don't know if we know that there are racist people and there are racist places and there are still sundown towns and stuff that exist or whatever too, right? But I'm just wondering, like, are people overly sensitive? And because there is a fine line between being a racist and a realist, but you telling the truth. You know what I'm saying? Like, your statements are facts. They ain't nothing that you lying on nobody about or nothing. Well, this is my thing. So I had watched this segment here about this Cahokia, Illinois. And so they was interviewing this white guy on here. And so they was asking him about this little town, this little village or whatever. He was basically saying that he hates it. And they was asking him why did he hate it. And he was saying that it used to be a little village, and then he said that all the black people started moving in, and he said that they started tearing the little village down and tearing the city down, and saying that they got a black mayor, that he can't stand the black mayor, and how they building these new schools or whatever, and he don't know why, for all these millions of dollars, and he don't know why, because black people gonna get in there and tear it up, and you can't have nothing nice. And he was saying that, you know, when he was coming up, when he was younger, it's always been white, but now since the black people that moved in, now he's the minority and he doesn't have a say so in nothing. And he was saying, like, when all the black people start moving in, all the white people start moving out, but he wasn't established enough to be able to move out. And he was talking about how he was a former bar owner that he had a bar in Cahokia, Illinois, or whatever, and he said that he had black friends, but he had the type of black friends that was respectful, that came in the bar with their pants up, but at the same time, he was saying the bar that he had, it was mostly black people in there, like he's consumed by black people. And so he was just stating what I see to be the facts. Now, I'm pretty sure I could come or I could ask around about Cahokia, Illinois, and some of these villages, and I can find out that I would know that they pretty much racist or whatever, or there's been some racist experiences there. But was he racist? I'm pretty sure, you know what I'm saying, he was, but I think he was more of a realist than more of a racist. He was telling the truth from what I could see. Um, he was just talking, like saying how, you know, when before, now he's an older gentleman or whatever, he was just talking about his experience being born and raised there, like how the place used to be, how it used to be Christmas carols, and how they would do these traditional things. The city would, these put up these big Christmas trees around Christmas, and Halloween was nice and this and that. And he said he didn't start feeling the effects until black people moved in. So up under the comments, there was a lot of people that was upset, saying that he was a racist or whatever. And some people, it was black people on there like, well, hell, I'm black and he telling the truth. Like, you can't have nothing nice. Black people do tear stuff up. And he was telling the guy that was interviewing, like, see, you can't, how me and you having a civil conversation, you can't have a civil conversation with black folks. They want to start going off and go off on you because you saying what you feel or you telling the truth. He was like, when I get home from work or whatever, he was like, or the neighborhood, he was like, people just throwing bottles down and people throwing trash down, and you ask them to pick it up and they give you the middle finger and tell you F you and all of this stuff. And he was like, this town was clean, and, we looked out for one another and stuff like that. But now there's been a major change or whatever. And so the guy was asking him about Cahokia, like, well, is there a lot of, illings that go on here? Is it a lot of shootings? And he was like, a lot of illings, shootings, and stabbings. And it's been like 2 stabbings in the last couple of days or something that was close to each other, something to that nature that he was talking about. He was like, you got to protect yourself. You got to stay protected. He was like, I don't never really remember it being like this or whatever. So I was just saying, like I said, I'm pretty sure he could be somewhat of a racist, but he sounded more like a realist to me, as far as he was describing his neighborhood and what was happening and the changes or whatever. And us as black people, I'm black, and I know some black people, and y'all know I know my people. We do tear things up. Let's be honest here. We do tear things up. We just, but this is the thing too. I think a lot of our frustration and anger is come from years and years of suppression, and years of being misguided and being taken advantage of. So when somebody else tells us something, it doesn't come off the way it would if one of us or one of our elders was to tell us something, because for the most part, anything that's ever been said or done or told to us, it was somebody coming to take over, or somebody to come cause harm, or somebody to come steal or whatever. So there is a line of defense there with us. I mean, but I'm just saying where I'm guessing this could be stemming from or whatever. But I can say for a fact, black people do tear things up. I mean, even where I live at, we used to have all these nice clubs and, all of this nice stuff going. And guess why they no longer here? Because of yo brothers and sisters tearing it up. That's why they here. I know of someone that moved down here from Chicago by way of friends that I grew up with on the west side of my town, where we all are considered a big family. Well, he come down here trying to bring a taste of Chicago with him and do nice stuff, because see, I used to travel back and forth to Chicago all the time. I used to go up there, get my hair done, hang out on Cicero, and go shopping at the plaza, and go on 63rd and Halsted and go shopping, go to the Cotton Club. And I used to hang out in Chicago or whatever. And I've been to some of their white parties and carrying on. I know how Chicago kick it. They have white parties, they have black parties, they have boat parties, they have these different things. So he moved down here trying to do something nice, bringing the taste of Chicago to Decatur, which Chicago is a couple of hours outside from Decatur or whatever. And so for a while, it was going nice, something to do, something different or whatever. It seemed to be successful. And it started expanding, and people was looking forward, to going to these white parties and these black parties, and this and that. And he had themes where you could take pictures and this and that and that and this, and it seemed to be pretty successful. Well, it started growing pretty good, and so now this is what I hear. This is hearsay. I don't know, because I didn't go. I've only been to like 2 or 3 of them. But pretty much when somebody say something around here happened, pretty much it happens, or at least it happened with my ass when they said it happened. But they didn't tell what they was doing. Carry on. So it started growing, and he was successful to be able to lock up a venue at one of these country clubs, where these other folks, nice place, go out. Now, I don't know nothing about the country club. I ain't never been to the country club, but from what I've always heard, it was a nice place, and it was these people's place, and that's where they went. I hadn't personally never myself heard of another black person renting out the country club, but I'm pretty sure a few of them have, like some ADM workers or some other successful people. But he managed to get the I was going to say the Cotton Club. He managed to get to the Decatur Club. Next thing I know, people was asking me, calling me that night, asking me did I want to go, was I coming out and stuff, and I was like, no, really my money ain't right, my fit ain't right, I'm gonna just stay in and chill. I've been to a few of them, I'm good, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna be a nice turnout. I don't even believe half of the night was over. My phone was ringing, talking about they didn't went out here. Folks got to fighting and said it wasn't the men, it was the ladies. Said something happened and they got to fighting, and I think somebody might have got with something or something and tore that place up, and he wasn't able to get the venue anymore. We as black people do tear shit up. I had he was a homie lover friend or whatever, more friend than lover or whatever, more homie than lover. And he was friends with someone that I knew and I grew up with and know they family well, grew up on the same street and whatever. His job was maintaining apartments and going in, fixing apartments up and laying carpet and getting the apartments ready. And when people move out, going back in, fixing the apartments up. So, whatever. Now, the people that he was working for had all these, which was a white man, had all these apartment complexes. His brother have some nightclubs here in Decatur, downtown, and a couple of other places. This place was all predominantly white. Didn't nobody black at the time, years that I knew of, ever go down there. It was downtown. Did nobody never go to this place? Well, suddenly they start going in, trickling in little by little, at a time or whatever. Then they start gathering, they start showing up. Kaboom! Next thing I know, I get a call from my friend in the middle of the night after 2 telling me that he got to get up and go down to this place because the brother that owned the apartment complexes The brother that owned the bars called the brother that owned the complex places and told him that black folks came up into his establishment and they got to fighting and they kicked the windows out and they tore the walls up and they punched holes in the walls and this and that. So him and his friend, the one that I grew up with, and some other people that work on the apartments had to go over to the club and get that place fixed up. Black people do tear up stuff. I also, my father worked at Caterpillar, but for 30 years, he worked at Caterpillar 30 or 40 years, but he also was a night bartender at a club here in Decatur for over 30 years. Been there ever since I was born and I was little, and he used to take me with him all the time. At the time, wasn't nothing but older people going to this particular bar. Jay's. We'll just leave it at that. Nothing but older people. Ever since I've been a child, my father has always took me in the bar with him, sat me on the seat, get me a cherry and a Sprite and some a cherry on top. And I'm thinking I'm drinking and a Slim Jig and a bag of Skins. Ever since I've been a baby, I've always went with my father when he went to work. It was always a old folks hole in the wall, sophisticated little spot. Younger people started going in there, which was cool. It wasn't too many problems. I mean, it has been some problems that I heard of. Some stuff with some young. And I've been there on a few nights where some stuff did break out or whatever, but not as bad as you would have thought it could have gotten. Well, out of nowhere, across the street, there was this building that had sat there for a while. Well, this lady moved over there, and she had a little fish joint that she run that was across the street. Well, people always park their cars in this building that she bought before it became a fish place to go walk across the street and go into the bar. People always park their car on the side of the street where a side street was at the side of the building to go into the bar. And at first she was okay with it. She didn't care. She wanted them to park there. She knew that they'd been parking there or whatever. She didn't have no problem with it. She wanted it to continue. After a while, I went down there in the daytime to order some fish and talk to her, and somehow we got on the conversation of the bar. And I noticed, like, now she had took some precautions. It was gates up and it was no trespassing signs and it was this and that and this. So I asked her, like, oh, you don't let the people from the bar park over here no more? She was like, no. She was like, I can't do it. I said, what happened? She said, well, they was breaking bottles. She said they was leaving bottles all in my parking lot. She said they was leaving food and plates because there was little places around there that I guess had food trucks, or you could go somewhere and buy something to eat or whatever. Places that was after hours, buy some wings and buy this or whatever, and you could eat. She said when she get up in the morning, her and her crew come to get ready to open up for fish, to jump on the register, to get the fish out and get the bacon and frying fish or whatever. She said they couldn't do that. She said because the parking lot was scattered with all these carbon boxes, these white box styrofoam food boxes, glass bottles all over the place, broken glass bottles all over the place. She said they couldn't even open their business on time because they had to get out there and sweep to make sure the customers that was coming to get fish wasn't catching no flat tires in their parking lot. They had to spend about a couple of hours getting all this paper up, getting all these beer bottles up, getting all this junk up, getting all these Black and Mild papers up, getting all these cigarette boxes up before they could even start their own business. So she said, no, she said, we can't do that no more. So if anybody parks over here or if anybody trespasses or whatever or leaves stuff on my property, they're in violation and something's going to happen. But just the thing, she wanted them there, but they tore her stuff up. Now, this is my thing, too. Keep in mind, when people is drinking or whatever, I don't think people in their right mind even be like, I'm just going. take this and put it in the trash. I'm going to walk over here to the dumpster. People in a different element, people in a different zone, so you're not going to get that type of reaction. But I'm just saying, black people do tear stuff up, and I've heard it from black people. I've seen black people tear stuff up. I've missed out on events, went the next day to sit with my friends, or got a phone call, girl, get your ass over here. Let me tell you what happened about last night. Go over there, get to sit down, having a good time, feeling good, air on, drinking and smoking and talking. Man, motherfucking Vice Lords was up in there chilling last night. Motherfucking GD came up in there, tore that shit up. That shit went down up in there. Such and such went flying through the window and broke that man chairs in the bar, this and that. So that's what I'm saying. Sometimes I think we can get oversensitive about the truth. Not that we don't have validation about the truth. It's more about validation for me as where the truth comes from and where it stems from and why we are like we are. But it's just the fact that people can't tell their story without being considered a racist. Or even if they are a racist, you hear so much truth in it that you should be able to let the racism go. Is racism a word? It is today, because that's what I do. I put shit together. So, I'm just saying, I don't know if people are oversensitive about information or whatever, and when people tell the truth, it just rubs them the wrong way. Hell, black folks, we racist towards one another. Igger this, igger that. We racist towards one another. But that's large because of the fight, of what we've been through and the challenges. We can do that. That's an inner thing or whatever. But some black people wish you wouldn't. So I don't know. I just wanted to touch bases on this because I was just thinking, like, I don't believe this man wrong for talking about how it used to be before the cities merged. Like, he could have been racist, but I didn't really get so much as he was a racist than I did that he was a realist. You know, he wasn't, those niggers, this, he was just saying, when they came in there, all of a sudden, stuff got to getting tearing up people's yards and this and that, and they shut some things down due to theft. Now, I can't fully blame the Hardys and the Walmart that he was saying on black people, because a lot of times you think black people stealing and it don't even be them. It'd be the people that got the lawyer suit on. It'd be the people with the Rolex on. It'd be the people that you wouldn't even think. And that's why they put these type of clothes on and these briefcases, because they know you never suspect them. But the honest black person that's sitting here with 2 and 3 kids trying to spend her little money or get some little food stamps and be honest, that got on dirty sneakers and got holes in her clothes because she don't really have a good job, or she's might not up to par and she's not in code with fashion and style, they looking at her and she trying to honestly pay, while Mr. Lawyer, rich ass, then got out the door with a bottle of gin, and while Miss Fur Coat then got out the door with steaks and ribs and shrimp. I'm just saying, I was racist versus realist. I love you.